Hi, so this is my first build ever on YouTube, and it's for a friend, so you'll see me clicking through to get the correct packs. You'll watch me do that over and over again, because this is kind of a spur-of-the-moment gift build. So instead of uninstalling all the packs I couldn't use, which would have been a major pain, I just clicked through every single time I had to and resorted the packs. But you also see me a few times look at the furniture from the movie Hangout stuff pack, because I didn't have this pack previously and he does. And I figured what a good excuse to buy a new stuff pack. So I did. My intention here was a modern build, which I am not particularly great at. So you'll see me fuss around with doors and windows a lot. So this is me picking a door for the back, and I'll pick a door for the front in a similarly fussy way. I had forgotten to put on move objects. I remedied that. The problem is he also had university. A lot of what he had lended itself to a modern build. City living, get famous. Oh, this is my geometry struggle. I forgot how triangles worked for a minute. But a lot of what he had was modern builds. And then he had Discover University right in the middle, which was just nonsense classical structure everywhere. So I sort of played with the idea of making it a classic build, and then very quickly got annoyed with that, hence my very modern doors. You'll see me fool around with the floor plan a lot. Because I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to build this on a relatively small lot, even though this build ends up being 100,000 simoleons. I was trying to make it affordable, and then that didn't happen, but I was building on a small lot with the intention of making it affordable, so I was trying to decide how many bedrooms I wanted, and where to put the bathrooms, because I wanted a downstairs bathroom, but I knew I also wanted the downstairs to be like a party space, because I asked him what his dream build was. If somebody was going to build for him, what is the absolute best thing he can think of? And he told me, and I quote, a party pad. If you're wondering why I called this build Aidan's party pad, it's because that's exactly what he asked for. So with the first floor, I wanted it to look out into the backyard, so I fussed with windows for a while. But also, I really struggled with the floor plan, because obviously it needs a bathroom, but does it want to have a bedroom? Where am I going to put the kitchen? So I kind of leave it open concept. Again, I told you there's a lot of window fussing. I finally settle on these windows, and I'm still not sure I'm happy with them. You'll see me change the color of them later in the build. But I have this weird symmetry thing with my builds and the windows, so my windows always look a little silly, because I just have an obsession with my windows being symmetrical, which is, not how life works. Sometimes there are things on the windows and I still leave the windows. So that upstairs that I keep very quickly experimenting with and then leaving because it is eluding me is the bedroom. It's the one bedroom in this build. What I'm working on right now is going to be a movie room, because obviously I just bought the movie Hangout pack, thanks to this friend. So I thought, well, what better use of space in this large house than a big old movie room? So you see me sort of thinking about couches, remembering that I have to check the packs again. If you find this build on the gallery, my username on the gallery is Montana Rose 4. I'll put that in the description. You'll notice that I failed miserably at keeping it to those packs, because I just kept forgetting to click all of my pack restrictions. So if you put it into your game, you will lose a few rugs, I've been told. But other than that, it is what it is. So this is the movie room. I really don't like the gaps that are automatic between furniture. I tend to just squish furniture right up against one another. Sorry, I've had a technical hiccup on this end. There we go. So I tend to just squish furniture together. And that rug came with movie hangout stuff, but I'm not sure I like it looking at it now. I might change it later. Oh, there's another hiccup. I used a light from Get to Work. I think I catch it later. And that's a spa day shower. Yeah, I definitely catch it later. I remember changing this bathroom. I ended up not decorating the bathrooms very much because by the time I'd put in all the frat bro amenities, I was so tired of decorating. Here we go. I remember my pack restrictions. Go back and double check this bathroom. I make it more of a city living bathroom. Now, this bedroom, I absolutely love this city living bed. I know it's extravagant and expensive, but it's one of the most normal looking beds in the game. Again, I hate the space between furniture, so I shift my beds over towards the end tables. And upon putting a bed in this room, I remembered that most places have a master bathroom. So I threw in a master bathroom. Also, a weird thing that I did while clicking those pack restrictions very frequently was that I would forget to click base game and just sit there going, there's very few options for bathtubs all of a sudden because I hadn't put the base game into play, so that is my bad. I'm a little bit of an idiot on that front. I did a weird thing while I was furnishing this one where I put in a whole lot of objects before I picked flooring or wallpaper, which is not how I usually do it. Normally I would pick a flooring for the whole space after I've determined my floor plan, and then I pick a wallpaper and I sort of furnish in regards to that so that my wood tones are the same. And all of my, here I am, cheating, adding hidden objects. I think you'll see me add debug into play later. I don't think I used debug landscaping. I was trying my best to make it something that he could put in his game without, concern. Because he's not a simmer the same way I am on any level. So I didn't want to put in anything that might not run perfectly in his game. So I don't remember if I used debug landscaping or not. Here I am cluttering. This is how I add clutter to places that normally wouldn't allow me to. I will fill up the slot that it wants to snap to, and then when there's nowhere for it to snap to, I raise it up to the level and alt place it, and then I'll pull the object out of the slot, so that way I can still use that slot if I wanted to. But I custom place items onto things that have slots, because the slots just feel very unnatural sometimes. I love these countertops, and it drives me crazy that they are seldom used. They're very industrial, I get it, they're odd, but I do love these countertops. Oh, this is a moment that I'm using the built-in Microsoft Video Editor because I don't want to spend money on a project that might not go anywhere, and this is my first video, so I don't want to spend a whole lot of money on it. But there is this moment that I cannot for the life of me get the editor to properly crop out because the time stamps are so odd, because it's a long story. I'm not going to complain about technology right now. But so that pause, that pause is a lot. It's impressive. But this is me trying to figure out how much space I want in the kitchen. Since it is sort of an open concept thing, I'm never sure how much space I should leave around the island. But I know that Sims like to sit at the island more than they like to sit at tables, so I always put stools at the island. I really wanted this bar area, which thankfully completely matches the countertops, which was perfect. But I'm still not sure I'm happy with the table setup. It's a little odd, but, you know, it fits. With an open concept space, you just kind of have to appreciate what you've done. That was me realizing that I had turned the TV brown instead of black. Don't know why. Now I'm just trying to pick out things I think a college guy's party pad would have. Karaoke machines, performance spaces. This is heavily based off the fact that I go to art school in Chicago. Okay, I'm about to do something very stupid. You know, I told you I fill up the slots, alt place. Yeah, I did that. I filled up every slot on that countertop with bubbles. I could have picked something big, filled up 4 slots, and the worst part about it is that I didn't even correctly place that last thing of bubbles. It's completely floating. It's the worst. Anyway, so I really wanted a bubble blower, and you'll see I start moving things to the backyard. And shifting them around. The amenities, so like I wanted this gaming pad, but it looked silly the way that the upstairs was currently formatted, so I just changed it. I tried to put in windows, and this is the spot where I really want both that bookcase in the master bedroom and also a window there, so that bookcase is fully on the window. I wanted a ping pong table, so I moved the performance areas outside, and you'll see me over and over move things to the backyard if I want them, but they don't fit in the small space that we have in the house. This is me trying to color match the cabinets. I light the whole space and come back because I get worried that my color match won't be correct in the dim light. And I use that color of cabinet, but I think I go back where I do the shorter cabinets over the windows, because I did use a medium wall height. I just feel like modern builds are so much more forgiving with wall heights. In a traditional build, I would never go over a short wall height. But this one was sort of an out of my comfort zone build, and it was for a friend, so I didn't feel like there was any sort of odd judgment. So I just kind of went crazy. I cannot furnish front rooms to save my life. I can never remember what goes into a front room, like a mud room, you know, the room that you first walk into. What's that called? An atrium, something like that. I know in Latin it's an atrium. That's not helpful, though. Pack selecting again. I've actually never used this flooring in a build before. This weird, like, cowboy set flooring. I tend to use the Jungle Adventure flooring because it's like a muted, ashy wood tone. But this accomplished a similar thing. You'll see me debating red walls, which I think just look cheesy in this instance. And I have a really bad habit of just using these muted browns. So I just put the muted brown in the whole room, and I tend to do pastel bathrooms. That's what I did, pastel green bathrooms. And I think now I start properly decorating. And here I knew I wanted a fish bowl, so I threw in a decorative end table to put the fish bowl on. I start adding rugs, which is where I goofed up, I think that's where, like, the packs that I wasn't supposed to use crept in, because I forgot to sort my rugs when I was doing rugs. I know I have those laundry day rugs, they get me, because they look so normal. They're just such a helpful little rug. But they're laundry day. They're not base game, which is so annoying. Now I'm trying to decide what I want to do with the outside of the house. With modern builds, I always tend to make them too white, and then they just kind of blend in and look weird and unreasonable. When you go to save them from the front, they just look odd when they're really white. So I do that. I make the whole thing white, but I definitely go back later. Oh, here I go, trying to roof this thing. I just made really weird choices when I was roofing this. I go back and forth for probably half an hour with the roofing in real time. So I can only imagine this several minutes of painful roofing. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I was trying to make those match up, and then when I was certain that they wouldn't, I just turned it around. I have a weird thing where I just make roof pieces look like weird and edgy because I don't know what to do with them. I think that started when I was trying to build in like Oasis Springs for the first time. You know those weird EA houses with the like zigzaggy roofs? I just decided that's what I wanted in life. This gray tile I still feel like was maybe a mistake, but I don't, if I could go back and change anything about the build, it would be this top roof. I would have one roof piece go one direction throughout the whole back. This is me, just you'll see me pull it up a lot and see what it looks like from the front to see what needs to change with the roofing. Because most of my builds, I have 70 builds on my gallery page. Again, I'll link it in the description. Most of my builds are intended to be discovered that way through the gallery. So I check a lot to see what it'll look like in the gallery thumbnail. Because EA screenshots do us dirty, they just do. And you gotta be prepared for it. But with the roofing, what I would have done would be one large piece across the center and then another piece going the opposite direction on just that little overhang on the second floor. This is me realizing that columns still suck, even though they are better than they were. And I just left it. I decided that it looked like a choice, so I just left the columns not on the roof pieces, which, I'd been building this, it was getting kind of late at night. And I'd been building this for ages, and it didn't like me. I just couldn't get it to work. So I just start adding black accents and claiming that that works. And this is, I think, where I turn the windows black. Somewhere near here. Because I have all these black accents all of a sudden, yeah, and it just started to look very weird with the white windows. I think it takes me a second to remember that there's more windows in the build and to go turn those black too. I have, you'll see that fencing started to respond to all the columns that I placed everywhere and break up, and that's not what I wanted. So I made my staircase a little wider than I'd intended, and it looks kind of strange, but overall, it looks alright. Yeah, I did marble porches because I wanted the stairs to be black, and my usual porches would be masonry, they'd be stone, but next to the black stairs they looked very odd. I moved the house back because the stairs were so wide, they looked kind of crazy. So I moved the house back from the street a little. I just really like putting little plants on the porch. There we go. I'm catching the rest of the windows. But I do believe I left the back door white and those windows white because the porch was black marble, so that would have looked a little too samey. You notice the foundation I used was also white because I had intended for the whole thing to be white, and then it was too white, and then I kind of freaked out about it. So that's how it goes. This is me trying to figure out, I used get-together chairs before I remembered that I couldn't use get-together chairs. So you see me go change those chairs after I stick a light on the wall, I think. Yeah, here we go. I'm changing the chairs. Ooh, good old pack restrictions. And then I wanted to use these university chairs, and the base game chairs, and then almost nothing worked, so. Really definitely looks like a skeevy little card table, which is, I was hoping it would look more nice and upscale, but with the pack restrictions, that just wasn't gonna happen. put in a little bird bath. Now that I think about it, it looks a little morbid, like we're gonna cook the birds, but that's a me thing, I think. Now I go to, backyards are my favorite part of most builds. Here I'm just mixing up the patterns with the poofs. I really love the movie Hangout poofs. I'm a sucker for a poof. I don't know how I hadn't looked at movie Hangout before. Okay, so it wasn't necessarily debug landscaping I used. It is, well, it is technically debug. It's show hidden objects, so bb.show hidden objects. That is Strangerville landscaping, and it's $0, but it comes up in the regular sort after you show hidden objects. But if you do bb.show live edit objects, the entirety of the landscaping that they use that you see around the lot, that will come up as well. And I added some more lights in the backyard because I thought it would get dark, because it will. This is me just doing basic terrain paint. I like to put like I like to use this like half dirt, half grass terrain paint to sort of indicate areas people walk on a lot. Yeah, so I used regular landscaping. In the front, just these regular bushes. Normally I do a lot more flowers and wild landscaping, like it looks sort of unkempt, my landscaping does usually. But this house felt very modern and that felt out of place. This is me trying to decide if I want a privacy fence or not, and how I was going to do that, and I settle on this weird fellow. I'm actually pretty happy with that fence. I like the way it looks. I've never used that fence before in my life, but I like the way it looks. I wanted this weird corner that sort of got cut off. I wanted to do something with it, so I have like a little bike area, and then I put in, I used Get Together Again. Why do I love that pack so much? I just like the outdoor furniture for that pack a lot, I guess. Yeah, I've forgotten my pack restrictions again. Laundry day. Darn it. Oh, and the stone path is yeah. I'm a fool. I'm just a big old goof with this stuff. I just didn't want to uninstall packs for this build, but next time I have pack restrictions, I should, just so that it doesn't happen again. And I use that same sort of dirty looking terrain paint, just to sort of, you know, make it clear that people walk through here. I really like that stone path, but if you have the pack restrictions, it probably won't show up. I actually don't know how it showed up. I should ask him how it showed up on his game, since that was a get-together. Those are get-together rugs, technically. Those stone circles. And then with modern builds, I like this little planter. Now, I struggled for a while with what to do on the outside of the house, and I change it up a lot. I go, oh yeah, this is where I went into debug. I scrolled for ages through debug looking for something that just made the front of the house pop more. And I make the there we go. I make the brick that I added to it earlier a darker shade. You're gonna watch me scroll through debug for ages. It takes me a while to even try things. I wonder why I stopped there. Yeah, a lot of this. Here I go. Pack restrictions again, going back. I'm pretty sure it was a base game piece of greenery. The greenery that you can put up on walls. I thought about adding some more modern accents, but none of them really looked, and that one was too big. But it is a lot like that. Oh, I did add the cactus from Strangerville. I really like the cacti in Strangerville. Yeah, I like the Strangerville assets a lot. You see me get sidetracked a few times. Yeah, these these pieces of greenery, they are base game, I believe. And then it was just too much green, so I took away some of it. And I moved the flags, you know. Now we're back on the, oh yeah, the windows on the first floor look like odd, because it is a medium wall height instead of a short wall height. That one, because it's a diagonal wall, that window is just weird. And it will be weird for the rest of its life. Now I am realizing that I didn't do any wall decorations inside the house, so I'm doing those. Movie posters in the movie room. Movie Hangout Stuff has these really adorable sets of frames, and I can't believe that I had never even looked at them. This is one of my favorite pieces of art ever, which is the City Living big canvases with the street art on them. I really love those, because no matter what color you need, they generally have something. I struggled a lot with what to put on that wall. I think I went to wall hangings. I believe that I end up putting the Movie Hangout Stuff like tapestry, and put those in the bathroom. That's the one decorative thing I ended up putting in the bathroom. Yeah, I do. I put the Movie Hangout tapestry on that wall. I think I stick in a pride flag. Yeah, he's the friend I built this for is straight, but I can't resist a good pride flag. Yes. I think the rest of this, I think I try and put decorations in this bathroom. I do, but it just looks kind of sad with the medium wall height, and I can never see into the bathroom because of how walls work in The Sims. I use the Movie Hangout mirror though. So that's the most bathroom decorating that I do. You'll notice in my screenshots, I did not take screenshots of the bathrooms because they are fine. They're functional, they're just not great. Yeah, now I am decorating the kitchen. I feel like I decorate kitchens the same way every time. So every time I build a kitchen now, I'm trying to like break out of my kitchen decorating habits, but I don't know if I managed that. Okay, my VO gets a little bit cut off at the end there because of the technical hiccup I had earlier in the video, but please subscribe, like the video,